Hi, my name is Arlene Triolo, and I'm a health coach who specializes in helping people overcome night eating syndrome. And this is video 2 of a video series that I'm doing to help people kickstart their recovery process from night eating syndrome. So if you haven't watched the first video, I would recommend that you go back and watch that. I will leave a link in my description below. And as I said yesterday, I suffered from NES for almost a decade, and that is why I have specialized in helping people overcome this really difficult and often unheard of disorder. And for that decade, it was a very frustrating and somewhat embarrassing journey for me because I found that many doctors and therapists didn't understand what the problem was and didn't give me the right strategies to help me overcome NES. And so after I managed to overcome it myself, I started talking about it more on my Instagram, and that is when people found me, and I started doing a couple of pilot coaching programs with people, as well as coaching people one-to-one through my coaching experience and my experience in the realm of functional medicine. And ultimately from there, I developed strategies to coach people one-on-one as well as in group settings. And I now also have an online course that helps people overcome night eating syndrome. And again, I'll put the link to that in my description. It is called Freedom from Night Eating Syndrome, and it has also helped people in their journey overcoming night eating syndrome. So let's get started with video number 2 today now. So I am going to be referring to some of my notes, so if I look away, that is why. We'll talk about neural networks today, as well as the main root cause of night eating syndrome. So perhaps you already know that when your NES started, you were creating a neural network in your brain that over time became increasingly stronger and more automatic. A neural network is like an automatic habit loop. To give you an example, when you wake up in the morning, one of your neural networks that at work might be that first thing you wake up, you look at your phone, or maybe it might be that first thing you wake up, you open the curtains or head to the bathroom. All of these things are examples of neural networks. It's something your brain is programmed to do without much friction. It becomes second nature. And these automatic neural networks save our brain energy for more cognitive tasks. However, there are some obviously unhelpful neural networks that we can develop, such as scrolling through social media or anything that you don't really want to do, but that you are almost quote unquote addicted to, watching too much Netflix or snoozing to the alarm too often. Maybe it is looking at your phone first thing in the morning. And obviously night eating is also one of those unhelpful neural networks that has become entrenched in your brain. While these neural networks typically keep us stuck, they do serve a purpose. They make us feel good, at least for the moment, and give us temporary relief from the discomfort that we might feel. They give us a quick dopamine hit, and dopamine is a neurotransmitter that is in charge of making us feel pleasure and satisfaction. So in other words, in the short term, these behaviors elevate our mood. But in the long term, when we think about our consequences, such as weight gain in the case of NES, we become unhappy or depressed. So how is this neural network initiated or caused in the person who suffers from NES, his brain? So one overarching cause that I have identified in basically all of the people that I have worked with is that their NES started around a period of calorie restriction, such as through chronic dieting, or maybe even through an eating disorder, such as anorexia. And I go through this in much more detail in my course, Freedom from Night Eating Syndrome. In the first week there, we dive deep into the causes of night eating syndrome, of which calorie restriction is one. But what I want to say here is that what calorie restriction as well as anorexia or chronic dieting has in common is this deprivation of your brain and body from the energy that it needs to thrive. And your brain and body being starved of this energy causes your nervous system to amp up its sympathetic mode. Okay, so sympathetic mode is when your body is in fight, flight, or freeze. And being chronically in that state, which is initiated by the calorie restriction, your body gets stuck in this sympathetic mode and it cries out for balance. And one of the ways it does that is through night eating. And that is a survival response and an internal wisdom that is built in our body in order to bring back homeostasis and balance. Our bodies know that they need X amount of calories to function optimally, but if you're significantly giving them below that amount of calories for a prolonged period of time, they will fight back. And this is where the night eating syndrome neural network is born. Your body wakes up in the middle of the night, it sends hunger signals, and your brain goes hunting for food. Now, there are other reasons that keep you stuck in this NES vicious cycle, and I do go into those in more detail in the course. But for now, I want to explain what the vicious cycle is. So the vicious cycle is that you go through this period of calorie restriction initially, your brain and body go into fight or flight, and then you wake up to eat those restricted calories through night eating, and usually some more as well. And then you start gaining weight. And when you gain weight, you start worrying about the weight gain. So then you try to restrict more calories. And then when you restrict more calories, that neurofeedback loop that we talked about initially fires up. And when that fires up, you're going to night eat again. And then you're going to worry about the weight gain and restrict more calories, which leads to more night eating. And that is where many of my clients find themselves when they come to me. Once the cycle started, the neural networks become stronger and stronger, and as a result, it becomes harder and harder to break out of this pattern of night eating. And this is how NES can continue for every single night for decades, even after you increase your calories to quote unquote normal. So I know that some of you might be thinking, well, I used to restrict my calories in what I eat, but now I don't. So why am I still night eating? And this might be true for some of you. And your problem may be that you're eating at the wrong times and the wrong things possibly as well. And you may still be holding limiting beliefs around weight loss or other things that you need to break through in order to make recovery possible. NES is a big puzzle, and there are various pieces that need to fit together in order to overcome NES and to see the bigger picture. So I discuss all of these pieces in my course, Freedom from Night Eating Syndrome. But one final thought I want to leave you with from this video is that nearly all NES warriors, having completely lost their intuition around eating, will eat restrictively or perhaps without even knowing it in some way. And that is best resolved through identifying what is going on there. And sometimes that has to be done through one-to-one coaching. But we will talk about that as well in the next video, so hopefully I can give you some pointers. And if you found this video helpful, do please leave a like and a comment. I would love to hear what happened in your journey. And I feel like the more that you comment, the more this community can grow and the more other people can be helped and encouraged, not just by what I say, but also by what is happening in the comments. Okay, and see you in the next video.